Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Happy Easter, everyone. Thank you. We're going to be reading John chapter 15, verse 13 today. It's just a short line, so I'll just read it for us. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. Let's pray. Dear Father, I just thank you for gathering us here together just to celebrate your resurrection today. Father, as I speak today, I pray that you just show us your love, reveal yourself to us, and Lord, just provide us with your Spirit. In Jesus' name I pray. Back in the 1880s, there was a philosopher, Nietzsche. He declared that God is dead. And with Nietzsche, there were a lot of philosophers chiming in, agreeing with him, saying that in the 20th century, it would mark the end of the world's religious phase. So basically, there will be no religions after the 20th century, is what the philosophers debated, proclaimed. Yet today, more than half of the United States population attends worship on a regular basis. Us sitting here, just coming together for Easter, it just proves those philosophers wrong. Nietzsche and the other philosophers, they're definitely in their graves right now. They passed away. But one message today that I want to share is that God continues to live. God is alive. And that's the message of this Easter. He is risen. Jesus is risen. The Muslims, they regard both Muhammad and Christ as prophets of God. But whereas Muhammad, he lived, died, and passed away, Jesus, he lived, died, and arose. And I hope everyone here agrees with me when I say that. Muhammad died and he was buried. He actually has a burial in Saudi Arabia. The same is true of other religious leaders. The same is true of Buddha. I believe he's buried somewhere in Sri Lanka, I think. But it is not true of Jesus. You can't visit his remains. You can't visit his burial. You can only visit his empty grave because he isn't there. Jesus arose. Jesus' death was definitely necessary. Without his death, there could be no resurrection. At the cross, he laid down his life for us. He willingly gave it all. And the cross was the ultimate symbol of shame. It was reserved for the most wicked, most vile criminals. And the disciples, their teachers, the one that they left home, they left everything to follow, he was hung on that cross, that shameful cross. And when he was hung up there, they all turned their backs on him. But then it happened. Jesus broke the chains of death. He arose from the grave. He was resurrected. And one thing that I want to point out today was the disciples, they were all so excited when Jesus came back. They were all so excited. They were so happy. They were so energetic. But Thomas, this disciple named Thomas, he wasn't there. He wasn't willing to believe that Jesus was alive. In John 20:25, he says, so the other disciples told him, "We have seen the Lord." But he said to them, "Unless I see the nail marks in his hands and put my fingers where the nails were and put my hand into his side, I will not believe." Thomas, by his actions, is basically saying, seeing is believing. I will only believe if I see. Today, I just want to come up here and I just want to say a daring statement that a lot of us here today are Thomases. A lot of us here, me, myself included, we're being just like Thomas. We come to church and we're looking for this sign, this miraculous proclamation, something from God. We're looking for some physical evidence to believe, to have faith in God. Jesus, he comes to Thomas. He says, "Put your finger here. See my hands. Reach out your hand and put it into my side. Stop doubting and believe." And Thomas says to him, "My Lord and my God." And then Jesus told him, "Because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed." I'm pretty sure a lot of us here, we're looking, we're praying. Jesus, give me a sign. God, give me a sign so I could do this for you. God, give me a sign so that I could follow you. God, give me a sign and I will do this. And we're negotiating with God. We're trying to make promises to God. But Jesus, he says one thing here. He says, greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You know, Jesus, he showed us the greatest love. He laid down his life for us. What more are you asking him for? We're negotiating with a God that has already given us everything. Today, you know, Jesus, he asks you, will you do the same for him? Will you follow me blindly? Will you follow me to the cross, to the most shameful, vile thing that you can endure in your life? Let's pray. Dear Father, I just thank you for the cross. Lord, I just thank you for just giving up everything, going through the most painful times, the most suffering times to show us your love. Father, as we just come here today, I pray that you just open up our hearts. Just help us bow down to you, surrender to you, surrender complete control to you. In Jesus' name I pray.